So the chosen is universal, open to everyone, has to do with how loving are you. That's really important to know. And actually, it can be damaging. Swedenborg was trying to warn religious people that it's damaging to think that you are part of a select club that God favors more than he favors other people.
And I'm assuming just by characteristics of birth or religion or nationality or race or something like that, right?
Yeah, so this is what he says. There were many people among the children of Israel in the past, and there are many among Jews today who believe they more than all others are the chosen people because they are circumcised. Likewise, there are many among Christians, that was Swedenborg's group, who believe they are the chosen people because they have been baptized. Yet both of these rituals, circumcision and baptism, were intended only as a sign and a reminder to be purified from evils. This purification is what truly makes people chosen. Okay, so
It's great teaching.
I mean, it almost just can be left without further explanation. So let's go to the next one. An outward change without an inward change is like a church building with no worship inside. It is useless to everyone, except perhaps as a stable for animals. I think he's making a joke.
I
think that's an 18th century joke.
Those the 18th century Swedes had a very dry sense of humor, but I think he's got a smile on his face when he.
An outward change, meaning baptism, circumcision, any ritual washing, something like that. An outward change without an inward change is like a field full of stalks and canes that have no grain. It is like a vine that has branches and leaves but no grapes. It is like the fig tree without fruit that the Lord cursed. It is like the lamps in the hands of the foolish young women who had no oil. In fact, it is like living in a mausoleum with corpses under our feet, bones on the walls, and ghosts that fly near the ceiling at night. It is like a carriage drawn by leopards with a wolf on top as the driver and an idiot sitting inside. All right.
Okay, no, that got a little too personal.
Yeah, man.
I remember translating that. I was laughing so hard at the idiot in the
So I guess that this is Swedenborg, commenting on how he used to be and how many of the people he knew were, who think that he was surrounded by aristocracy and people of power in the church who thought that because they did these external acts, they were good, but they weren't trying to not harm their fellow human beings.
There are millions and millions of people who think that the physical washing of baptism somehow actually removes sins, and that's it. You're done. You did that. You're good.
Yeah, but obviously, like, you can't get baptized and then go out and hurt people. That's not good.
You would hope not. Yeah.
I mean, like, that wouldn't be. No one would say that you've changed or something.
Right.
It's just that's just like it feels self-evident.
It's like eating food in order to feel love. Like, it's never gonna reach. It's on the wrong level.
Our outer self is not human. It only looks human. Our inner self, which is our capacity for wisdom from God, is what makes us human. This, then, is also the nature of people who have been circumcised or baptized, but have not circumcised or washed their heart.
Which, again, is biblical.
Yeah.
You don't need Swedenborg to tell you that there's a circumcision of the heart.
Right.
The Bible talks about that. I think it's in the Old Testament. I think it's in the New Testament.
Okay, and this is where Swedenborg starts to get into this warning. The evil of self-love. This is
one of his ancient enemies.
One of his nemesis.
Yeah.
Which is, in case anyone's not familiar with the term, this is the belief that I am more important than anyone else. Like, everything is about me, and what I want and need, that matters a lot. If other people don't do what I want, off with their heads. Like that. Yep. That sort of vibe.
Exactly. Yeah, the extreme self-centeredness, disregard for other people, absolutely cold to, like, if they're saying nice things, I love you. If they're not, get rid of them. Doesn't matter. Torture them. Doesn't matter.
The evil of self-love inspires some to believe that there is only one nation that Jehovah ever chose. They view everyone else in the world as a comparative slave, and so worthless that she or he can be murdered at will or tortured. Any evil done as a result of this false doctrine, or of other doctrine built and founded on it, is an evil resulting from a false teaching with evil origins. Well,
Okay.
look back at history, and I'm talking about like history all over the globe. Like how many crusades of all kinds have there been in the Abrahamic religions, in other religions, with even stuff that's not a religious ideology, but still carries that weight with it to say, we're in the group that matters, you are not, so it doesn't matter what we do to you.
Your life is, yeah. There's some people have taken that view that those others, whoever they are, that they don't really feel pain, or they're not human, or they don't have human. Often there's language of talking about people as insects, or kind of dismissive language, because it doesn't recognize the humanity of people, and somehow the sense that one of me is worth like 100 or 1,000 of those other.
The exact opposite of divine love,
Isn't it? Yeah.
which is that I'm calling every person, and just the obvious ethics, that everybody feels like you feel. Everybody is having a life like you have a life.
Yeah.
Everybody should be kept free from suffering if possible.
And to them,
that
matters.
That's their whole life.
That's their life. Yeah.
So it's in some ways it's the most egregious evil to think, because of religion, I can be inhuman to people.
So often he talks about falsity and evil, and they can seem kind of abstract sometimes, like what's the evil and falsity? And here he's talking about evil from a falsity that had evil origins. So somehow there's sort of two levels of evil in there, but that the falsity originally came, so there was some self-centeredness that came up with some teaching that kind of serves the lower self, maybe like we're special and nobody else is, and God wants us to live and wants everybody else just to serve us because we're the best, and then you get an evil that comes from that, which is that you're mistreating people on the basis of that falsity that had its origin in evil.
So this is what he's warning about. He says that belief, he says, it destroys the inner self and shuts it off so that no conscience can ever form in it. People who do such evil are the ones the word describes as standing in blood, because they are awash in savagery against all humankind, which fails to adulate them and their creed or to offer gifts on their altar. You don't agree with me?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's potent. I mean, he's got it turned up to 10 there.
This is a different place in Secrets of Heaven where he's talking about the same thing. When people have adopted and hardened themselves in the belief that some have been chosen and the rest have not, and that the entrance into heaven is based on mercy alone, meaning God can just choose someone and you're in, you're out.
Okay, there's no other criteria than God's favor.
Right.
Like you go through trees in the woods and you mark every third one, but you're going to cut it down.
Right. No matter how a person has lived, they are told, and I have heard and seen this several times, that the Lord never denies heaven to anyone. So people in the afterlife are told, look, no, God doesn't deny heaven to anyone. And then they get put through
Nobody is shut out.
an experiment. There's a spiritual experiment that gets done on them right here.
I love that. When the scientist still surfaces in Swedenborg's works,
He said, if they want, they can learn this from experience. They are taken up to a certain community in heaven whose inhabitants lived lives marked by a desire for goodness. In other words, by neighborly love. When the subjects of the experiment arrive, though, being evil, this means the people who thought there's only one group, it's mercy, I'm in the group, other people are out of the group, so I'll go to heaven automatically. Being evil, they start to suffer distress and inner torment because the life there is opposed to them. So the life in this group of people who lived by love.
It's like an incompatibility or like a tension between these different worldviews.
When heavenly light appears, It makes them look like devils, almost devoid of human shape. Some have their faces drawn back, some look like a set of teeth, and some look monstrous in other ways. So they cringe at themselves and throw themselves headlong into hell. The deeper the better, as far as they are concerned.
And it's interesting that the good people don't apparently say anything. They don't say you're bad or you're thinking about this in the wrong way. Or it's all self-realized, right? It's just their own self-concept.
Yeah.
These people see themselves in this horrible light. Nothing but teeth or monstrous or in some way, and they can't. It's unbearable. It's literally unbearable, and so they throw themselves out of there to get out of that atmosphere because their mindset, their worldview does not accord with the atmosphere in that community.
Man, well, because I think that the idea is monstrous. So if hell, another way we could summarize hell fundamentally, according to Swedenborg, is I matter more than you.
That's a great one.
Isn't that
what a classic?
Isn't that what hell is? Is I matter more than you.
That's right.
You don't matter. You could be said, you don't matter.
Yeah,
and
that's right. I matter, you don't.
Eh,
That's the difference between us. Yeah.
So that's a monstrous thing. It doesn't even seem as bad when you say it as when you see the effects that come out of it.
Because Swedenborg says that some of these things have so many evils, and you can see it. That wow, I've just been listening to a couple of different audio books about the First World War for whatever reason, and 20 million people killed, 21 million people injured. Like a lot of bad things happened there,
Right.
That was not sort of overwhelming love that was going on, and it had a long knock-on effect. And the other thing that's in my mind on the positive side is that isn't part of what we're talking about is that everyone has a chosen part.
Yeah.
Everyone has an Abraham. Everyone has a chosen part, and then it depends. Would you agree on the way that you relate to that? Do you identify with that part? Do you let your Abraham run the tribe? Is Abraham what you're living for, or is it some other character in these biblical stories? Are you some negative? Do you identify with the Philistines or somebody else in the story?
So and this is also sort of a classic,
because there's no out group. Like if everybody has a chosen
yes,
part,
right.
Well,
and
God is never. No one's out as far as
that's the